Here we are in the third block. Corey K. Ward, the Pharaoh himself, comes to talk about temples of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And, we shoehorn in some other things too that aren't exactly temple stuff. They're temple-ish. They're temple-related. It's all the news since we've last chatted, and there seems to have been quite a bit. Let us go immediately to Helena, Montana, and the temple dedication.
Yep, on Sunday, June 18th, Gary E. Stevensen was there in Helena dedicating the 178th temple of the church. And yeah, a pretty standard dedication from the coverage and everything. But something unusual that happened the Saturday before was that there was a super brief announcement by the First Presidency that temple cornerstone ceremonies are discontinued.
Now, it's interesting to me, and we sort of talked about it earlier in the news, is that it's this very short, like, we're not doing this anymore because that's how buildings aren't built. But when I went to the Helena, Montana temple, there was very much the cornerstone that had not been, mortared in and set to be done. I'm sure that they probably did that. So it is something that they can do in these modular, smaller temples. Why do you think it is? Obviously, it's, the structures don't need it, but they were able to do it with the Helena temple. So is it just, are we walking away from something that doesn't need to be done, or is a practice of the past and said, listen, all this is ceremonial anymore. Let's get past it.
That's funny that you say that. I was just assuming that maybe like part of the construction, they had already mortared everything in, but you say that like they're ready to be have the ceremony and everything, and then they just did it. And then
and I don't know that they didn't do it or that they did do it, but all I know is that when I did the tour around, they have the the 2023 Cornerstone stone, and just like when you put tiles in your bathroom or you're setting any of those things, there were spacers on both sides of this particular stone, and it didn't have mortar in it. So I just assumed, yeah, okay, that's where they're doing that. And then you have the story that says, nope, not anymore.
That's interesting. Well, the statements get kind of odd because sometimes church statements are like this, is where they say something, they say like I don't know, they say that what the reason is, but then it's not really satisfactory of actually why they're doing it now instead of 100 years ago. Because I think the last cornerstone ceremony of an actual building that had a cornerstone was the Salt Lake Temple, and that was done during the construction as the foundation was being laid. And then as temples began being built with concrete, they just kind of put like that plaque on the corner, and then they started doing this ceremony where they put the mortar in. And the cornerstone ceremony is a very has like Masonic origins. It's very much like this is the start of the building. This is what we're putting the most important stone in that will hold everything. And so for the last 100 years, it's just been symbolic. In fact, I was at my mission, they transmitted the dedication of the Tijuana, Mexico temple to us. And his whole talk was about, this is the symbolism and the importance of the cornerstone ceremony. And this is about Jesus Christ and about the future and everything. And I heard that he gave like the same talk at the Provo City Center dedication. And so it's interesting that he could have like this huge explanation of why the cornerstone ceremony is so important, and then just like in 2 sentences, nope, we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah, there's got to be more to it. We'll see if we can't track down, or maybe more will come out about it. I always wish that there would be one person at General Conference who would be like, and in the last 6 months we talked about blank, or this announcement came out, and I would like to take this opportunity in my talk to be able to go in greater depth about
kind of like give context about like why the decision was made.
Yeah.
Something I also suspect is that in recent, like there used to be a pretty standard, we have 3 dedication ceremonies, but now they only do 2. And I wonder if maybe they're trying to get it down to just 1, because I mean, the reason why you had dedication ceremonies is so that multiple people could come in the temple and be part of that. But now that it's all transmitted, you might as well just have 1 ceremony where everyone watches it at the same time. And so I wonder if as part of the dedication, it's normally during the first session where they're all in the temple, then they all leave the outside of the temple, do the ceremony, and then come back in. So I just wonder if it's just kind of the same reason why we do 2-hour church, just to simplify things.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
that's what they should have explained.
Yeah. Give us some context. I'd love that general conference talk. We travel to Arkansas and talk about the Bentonville temple.
Yeah, the Bentonville, Arkansas temple. They had their media day on June 12th, and then they started tours on June 17th, and they'll run through July 1st. And so, yeah, we saw the photos of the interior, and they took a lot of inspiration from local Arkansas buildings, like the Benton County courthouse, the Massey Hotel, and then the Arkansas State Capitol. And they used like a lot of red, yellow, and blue patterns. They say they're reminiscent of the quilt-like patterns. And then there's some really nice rugs that are blue, green, gold, some hints of pink. And they use the dogwood blossom, the sunburst, and then the diamond motif. And the reason why they said they use the diamonds in the windows is because Arkansas is the only place where there's a diamond mine in the United States. And then in the celestial room, they have a really nice painting of Jesus in a blue robe. And I remember when I went to the Washington, D.C. open house, I saw this painting of Jesus, and it really stood out to me because I'd never seen it before. And of course, I asked one of the ushers about the painting if she knew anything about it. Of course, she didn't.
Right. Let's go back to, I mean, we mentioned that before when I was talking about Helena. Come on, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints temple people. Give us the one person that is called to know all the nerdy facts for those like Corey and I who just want to know, tell me about the intricate artwork of the, river flowing, thing in the Kirtland temple. Talk to me about this. Tell me why the dogwood is the strength of this, and have those answers. Most people won't care, but there's enough of us that want a little context. Let's call that person. Make that Corey's job. Hire him.
Thank you. And then the Bednars, of course, were there for the opening of the temple open house. They lived in Fayetteville, Arkansas, just down the road from 1980 to 1997. So he says, we're not Arkansans by birth, but whatever degree of adoption is necessary to be full-blooded Arkansans, that's what we are. That's what he said.
So he'll most definitely do the dedication as well.
He will do the dedication, and he did the groundbreaking as well. So all Bednars for Bentonville. And then the most highest VIP guest was the Arkansas Secretary of State, John Thurston. I guess they couldn't get Governor Sarah B. Huckabee Sanders there. So they settled for the Secretary of State. And he was very impressed by the paint. He said that he and his father used to be contractors where they did a lot of painting. And he said that the trim and the paint in the temple is the most pristine structure he'd ever seen.
Oh.
The high compliments from Secretary of State.
We go to Belo Horizonte, Brazil. Yeah,
Belo Horizonte. For some reason there's a church media blackout. It's been 3 days and they haven't acknowledged this has happened. So it apparently did happen on Saturday, June 17th by Juan A. said. I've seen some pictures. So I can't tell you much more about what was said at the groundbreaking, but it's going to be the 10th, I think, the 10th temple in Brazil.
Montpelier, Idaho. My dad, when he was up in Bear Lake, did the pilgrimage up to Montpelier. Son, we went to where it was. This was just prior to the groundbreaking, and and I was like, so what was it? And he's like, it's dirt, ground.
Yeah. It was an old, I think, courthouse, and then they turned it into a library, and then they demolished it, and then the church bought it, and then, but it's right across from the tabernacle there. So yeah, on that same day, Randy K. Olson presided, and our friends from East Idaho News and Local News 8 were there to cover it. And there was more than 600 people that attended, including Barbara Perry, who is the widow of Elton Perry. She's a resident of Cokeville, Wyoming. So she'll attend the temple. It's kind of amazing to think that as long as Elton Perry's been gone, that she's still around.
I thought this was interesting that there is a camera that helps you monitor the construction. And is that a thing that people can get on and look at any time of the day?
I don't know yet, but other temples have had like I remember when I was a kid, the Provo City Center temple had a camera from the New Skin building, and I would always go in there every day and watch the progress. And so maybe something, who knows if they'll post a link or if this will just be for the construction people to
You know
watch.
where, if they do, you know who will have it. East Idaho News.
That's right.
They'll have something like that we can follow on. Okay, well, that's cool. So the work is going forth as far as that goes up in Montpelier. And if you've never checked out the tabernacle there, if you're ever up in the Bear Lake area, definitely worth going and checking
Also
out.
go to the Paris Tabernacle. That's one of the best tabernacles of the church. And actually my ancestors are from that area. They came from England, and then they settled over by Paris and Georgetown and all those small towns over there. So I guess this temple is I guess where my ancestors are from.
See?
Yeah.
Ancestral temple. You just discovered it while we chatted. We go to Guam. I thought this was pretty gnarly.
Yeah, Typhoon Mawar was a Category 4 hit on May 24th, and the rain and everything flooded the inside of the temple, got all the carpets wet, some of the furniture, and the meeting house as well was pretty moistened, I guess you'd say. But it doesn't look,
moisture. Yes.
other than that, like the outside of the temple doesn't look any it looks fine. Just you just have to remove the water from the inside, clean the carpets. So yeah, the temple will be closed through July 24th, and then because the temple was dedicated almost exactly 1 year ago, so it's kind of amazing that storm comes right then. No one was killed in the storm. So
what I thought was incredible, you saw the pictures of everything, I presume, and it just looks decimated. All of the landscaping, all the trees are broken, all that kind of stuff just gone. And there the temple is like, yeah, no, we're good. We got a little bit of flooding, but all the rest of the area just completely leveled.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then wait a minute, a new temple visitor center. What's this about?
I know this hasn't been reported by the church media yet, but it was in the local Nauvoo news that the church went before the planning commission to talk about wanting to build a new temple visitor center. I'm pretty sure across the street from the Nauvoo temple. Right now it's just kind of a field. But they said they want to have a 240 seat amphitheater, several displays and exhibits, and a classroom. And something that one of the planners said is that the temple is the most inaccessible building in town. It's strikingly beautiful but mysterious. And so it looks like in order to help people learn more about the temple, the church wants to have this new visitor center for people to learn about it.
Well, I say yes. Did we get it approved, or are they trying to make it too tall? Are they trying to make the visitor center too tall?
Well, it's right across the street from the Catholic Church, and so I think they're still having some discussions about the road and the parking and everything. So
okay, so maybe an unhollowed hand can stop that work from progressing. We'll see, and that leads pretty well right into the huge everything that's going on in Cody, Wyoming. Too huge.
Yeah. So we talked about last time that they were going to have a small open house where they show people kind of what the plans of the temple are. They released some new renderings of kind of like if you're like kind of on the edge of the property, what the temple's going to look like. They said that they estimate that at most during the most busiest times, the temple generate about 32 vehicles an hour on the street. So maybe like 16 entering, 16 exiting each hour. And then they highlighted one of the visitors who's identifies as a Methodist. It says that religion is personal, it's beautiful, it's on private land, and let's move forward with this. So then on June 15th, they went ahead and had a planning and zoning meeting where they officially approved the temple, but there was still discussion about the 77-foot steeple. And so the city planner argued that steeple height is traditionally not counted as building height in most, like this is what I see in most other cities around the country, is that they say the building height is 30 feet. But like because of its religious importance, steeples don't have a limit. But obviously people there in Cody are saying, well, if you have a 6-story steeple and only a 1-story building, that kind of defeats the purpose of the height limit.
Right. Because they say,
Um,
like, I guess the standard is the roof line is 30 feet or something like that, right? That's how tall the building can be. But then, the steeple is 70 feet, 2.5 times beyond what the thing is. And I, I just,
yeah.
I just think I,
What do you think from
I,
those exterior, those renderings
I
from
you
the
know,
outside?
I just think, I, I guess to me, I start to get like this. I'm like, guys, do we think that God is like, oh, that steeple is not tall enough, right? Oh, that better be, do we think that that matters at all? I understand the symbolism in a steeple, right? And reaching towards the heavens and the strength and and maybe the even functional purpose of it being a lightning attractant so that the rest of the whatever, right? There could be many, many reasons. But when we go into a place that is naturally divided, like Cody, Wyoming, I'm sure already is because of its proliferation of members of the church, and then those who are not. And we go, yeah, we hear your rules. Yes, we've had your meeting. Yeah, oh, yeah, no, we're going to continue to do what we were going to do from the beginning. I don't think, and we can't, kowtow to everybody, but I don't think we make a tremendous amount of friends when we say, yes, your concerns have been heard, but we're going to go ahead and do that anyway. Different
Yeah,
if they needed to make a bigger building because there were 100,000 saints in Cody, and we're like, listen, the building's got to be this big so we can get this many people through because this is how many people are seeking after it. If it's utilitarian, okay. When it starts to become ornamental and it's just, in the face of some of the things that people want, like people should be able to say, our community wants this to be a dark sky community. Turn these off. We would like these to not be reaching high because all of our buildings in this particular part of the country are low lying buildings. Please, no, thank you.
yeah, certainly the argument that was put forward. One guy said that the cities are branded by their towers, like the Eiffel Tower, everything. And so he just said he doesn't want Cody to be known by being Mormon Temple. He says he wants the town to be known as the town of Buffalo Bill, everything. And so one person had a kind of a cringy comment that, oh, we don't want this 100-foot billboard advertising Mormonism to us Gentiles. And then there's some other cringy comments on the other side is that, oh, the temple will attract good LDS families to the community. So I think that's also not a good approach to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a good point about they said that the steeple was purely, it's not going to inhabit any, it's just going to be purely ornamental. And so I would suspect it's possible that if you remember the Yorba Linda, California temple was redesigned to put the steeple a little bit lower. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like this comes out of that. Or what's also been being floated is that the church, some of the representatives of the church pointed out that the Congress passed the Religious Land Use and Institutional Personalist Act in 2000, which protects houses of worship from religious institutions from discrimination against zoning landmarking laws. And so this is also being discussed in Heber as an excuse of why maybe the city should pass the ordinance because they might get sued by this law. If you also remember the Boston Temple, they were so gung-ho about having a steeple that they dedicated the temple without the steeple. And they just like, we're going to build the temple, whether you like it or not, we're going to build it ugly without a steeple. And then 9 months later, the lawsuit went through and the church won that. And they built the steeple 9 months later after the dedication. So in the past, the church has been pretty gung-ho about putting steeples.
So is it Steeplegate? Is that what we're calling it?
I don't know.
Is there
We'll see what
is it
happens.
something that you and I, just general lay members of the church, don't understand about the significance of a steeple? Can someone enlighten us, please, as to why we need to do all this? Because yes, okay. So take it. And when I shared this particular article on our Facebook, find us facebook.com/the cultural hall, or just search the cultural hall. Like, just because we can make an issue of it, like I really feel like because so many people make so many issues of so many things, can we make issues of things that really matter? And if this really matters, which I'm willing to concede, I don't know why it really matters, but if it does, Can someone tell us and help us all to really care about why this matters? And if it doesn't, not? Can we just not make an issue about something that we could make an issue about? Or do we always have to make an issue? Because at the point we don't make an issue, then, I should have said something when, but now I can't. My voice is silenced. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's an issue of whether these people that are complaining are a minority, just a loud minority, or if they represent the larger community. And I think that's what the community is trying to debate right now.
Yeah.
And so we saw that the temple in Belo Horizonte, it's like a flat steepled temple. So I mean, certainly the church is designing temples right now without tall steeples, and so it can be done.
Yeah. I say we build a tower to heaven.
I like it.
That's how it should be. Let me know what you think about that. I appreciate it. As always, you can find all the show notes, the different research that the Pharaoh himself has done. Find it in the show notes, and you can join us about every other time we do news. We have Corey come in and talk to us about the temples of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We call it the Temple Ticker. Corey, I hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
Hope that if you're sick or otherwise afflicted, that you can be here next week.
And that when the time comes, you'll be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime, we'll be saving a seat for you
on the back row
of the Cultural
Hall.